Welcome to week 1 of Writing in Science. Our learning goal in this module is to improve our practice around teaching bilingual students how to communicate scientific and technical information to create a classroom where all students grow as writers. I know teaching writing in science is daunting, but we're going to start by identifying the work that you already do that will make the writing process easier, richer, more productive. Why should STEM activities be the basis for an extended writing and revising process, or for language learning in general? Despite the old tradition of teaching language through skills and drills, we know that language acquisition occurs on a much deeper level when the new language features are taught in context, where students have real meaning associated with new vocabulary, sentence structures, or discourse styles. This idea is central to this module, and we'll say it more than once, that people use language to communicate with other people. So people learn language through communicating with other people. And people with more than one language can communicate to more people. It's your science class that's filled with high context, engaging activity around which communication can be structured. I'm talking about the moments where students are excited about a solution they have come up with for a real-world problem, or where the classroom is buzzing with talk about what the students just learned or felt or heard or smelled, where students continue to talk about the learning as they're leaving your classroom. Let's capitalize on those moments to get students writing. So this is where we start. By the end of the week, you should be able to identify the STEM activities you already use that will make a great lead to the writing process. Even better, you should be able to identify ways to modify existing activities that make them more relevant for bilingual learners, and to capture your students' ideas and questions in science, technology, engineering, and math. And even better, I want to encourage you to dream big in terms of project-based learning that could be truly transformative for your students. So how can we identify the best STEM activities that we use as a launch for great writing? Let's establish some criteria, a list of 6 look-fors to use when we're thinking about activities that might work. Our first and most important criteria: does the planned activity lead students toward a better understanding of the core content in science? If you use an existing resource such as ScienceKit, you've got this covered. But it's an important question to ask as you are searching to supplement your curriculum. A second look for: is the activity engaging or relevant to students' lives? Obviously, the more engaging the activity, the more students are going to have context for their writing. The same thing happens when the STEM activity is relevant to students' lives. Connections will be stronger, and so will the writing. This idea of making the STEM activities relevant to students' lives is the basis for 2 of this week's Explore and Make It Work options. A third look for: is the activity cognitively challenging? With the right science activity, students are forced to confront new evidence from observations or from experience. For those bilingual students who are still acquiring the language they need to access text and discussion, this may be the one chance they get in their school day to have a truly cognitively challenging experience. If you might hear an argument that science might be too complex to use as a writing assignment, but here's the deal. Because writing and thinking are so deeply connected, the writing process will lead your students towards a much deeper understanding of the science. Coupling them together can be the way to go. Criteria number 4. Does the activity allow for collaboration between students or between a teacher and students? When bilingual students have a chance to collaborate, 2 really great things happen. First, they can make sense of the concepts and the science using familiar language if others in their group share that same home language. And second, they practice the academic language they'll need to use later in their writing. And this oral language practice is critical for language development. Together, these 2 things lead to really good writing. All right, so we've got 4 of the 6 criteria, and they're pretty straightforward. We're looking for activities that are linked to the standards, engaging and relevant, cognitively challenging, and collaborative. We're good, right? These 4 are probably met by most science resources. Now let's add 2 additional look-fors, and these are straight from the standards but are often lacking in the resources provided to teachers. The first, or number 5 on our list of look-fors, is the student activity student-directed. Many teachers report a lack of support for student-directed learning in science, even though the Colorado academic standards and the teacher quality standards make it clear that this is called for. Giving students a chance to engage in questioning, engineering, investigating, it's fundamental to the practices outlined in the next generation science standards. When selecting STEM activities to use for great writing, let's look for student-directed learning activities, like open inquiry investigations, or applied engineering, or project-based learning. The more of a stake students have in creating the science work, the more ownership and investment they'll have in the writing process. Finally, in the best case scenario, we should use STEM activities that lead to original results or solutions. We've all seen the student's science research report that consists of copied sections from the internet or Wikipedia. The students might ask themselves, especially your bilingual students, why not copy from the internet? There's someone there with a better expertise with the content, and they have a better ability to write in academic English. When you involve students in work that leads to original results, or solutions, or products, they have an authentic reason to communicate, and they're the only ones that can do so. Maybe they're attempting an engineering design for capturing the rainwater that falls on the roof of their apartment complex. Or maybe they're asking an oddball question like, does the freezing point of Diet Dr. Pepper differ from the freezing point of regular Dr. Pepper? Maybe they're constructing a model of their schoolyard's ecosystem. The challenge here is to facilitate this kind of original work that gives students a chance to construct new knowledge and then write about it. There you have it. 4 basic look-fors of standards-based, engaging, challenging, and collaborative activities, plus 2 additional look-fors, student-directed and leading to original products or solutions. We may not see all 6 all the time, but as you go forward with writing and science, take a look at how these 6 look-fors affect students' engagement in the writing process. When you're doing work that matters, science class might seem like the place to engage students in writing. Hope you enjoy this week's learning and take away work that will make your classroom an even better example of bilingual excellence.